Today on Short Circuits, we're travelling to the land of the samba, where the people love to dance and they love their football. Go! Ooh, we're in Interlagos, in Brazil. Ooh, John, you... In each edition of Short Circuits, we create a scale model tribute to a celebrated racing circuit and invite 6 dedicated slot racers to go head-to-head for a place in the series final.
Via the magic of his stubby fingers, John Sword, the Mike Yarwood of motorsport modelling, has taken basic materials and transformed them into a convincing impression of one of the most demanding tracks in the world, Interlagos. Situated amongst lakes on the outskirts of Sao Paulo, Interlagos is a very physical track. The anti-clockwise nature puts great strain on the driver's neck muscles, and the bumps sap his energy. Best chance to overtake comes here at the end of the long start-finish straight, as drivers brake for the Ferradura and exit here at the Descida do Sol. But it's as the drivers slow for the tight infield section that they'll need to keep focused. If they don't, they'll be heading for the gravel. Which 3 of our slot jockeys will end up as the boys from Brazil? And who'll be the girls from Ipanema?
The 3 teams taking up today's Short Circuits challenge are Darren and Tim from the West Midlands, racing in red.
Well, we're called the Icemen because in our club I am known as the Iceman because I am most cool in racing. Very cool under pressure.
And I just jumped on the bandwagon.
Racing out of Cornwall is the yellow team, Jerry and Jim.
We're called the Padstow Cobblers because we feel that we are Padstow's answer to the Schumacher brothers. Jerry has got a fine line of knocking other cars off, and I'm worth a fortune.
And racing in white are the boys from Surrey, Simon and Trevor.
I think the tactics today are just to keep your car on the circuit. It's a tricky circuit, and I think caution is the name of the game.
Close, you know, fair, but I think we should come out on top.
Hell for leather and hope for the best.
Cunning and dastardly deeds.
It's just do your best and have a good time.
We're here to win.
We're going to make sure we get them.
Chicken wire, polystyrene and newspaper. In the shanty towns of Sao Paulo, they used these materials to build a house. But John Sword's already got a house, so he uses these materials to build a hill. How do we do it, John?
It's perfectly fine to have your circuit built on flat board, but it looks a little bit boring. So to make it look more interesting, we need to build some hills. To do this, we're going to use some very simple techniques and cost-effective materials. In principle, what we need is some chicken wire, which also doubles up as a bit of a cage for Alex, no problem keeping him confined in there. Also, some newspapers, which we're going to cut up into strips. We dip the strips of newspaper into just normal water. Nothing added, no need for any wallpaper pastes or any other type of mixtures such as flour and water, and we can apply our green paint and sawdust mix directly onto the newspaper. Before we can paint the green paint and sawdust mixture onto the surface, we've got to first of all make sure that we've shaped it into the correct shape that we want. In this case, we've got a long stretch of hill and we want to make some contours. So we use the polystyrene blocks underneath the chicken wire to actually prop it up. And then, although you can't see it too clearly now, running your hand over the chicken wire, you can see that it is undulating and giving us a nice shape. This becomes more clear when we do use the newspaper. If we wet some of that and put a strip on, you'll see exactly what I mean. OK, laid in that position there now, you can see that the newspaper is following the contours of the chicken wire that we've already pinned into position. And all we need to use for that is a normal hammer and some U-shaped tacks. cover the contour now with newspaper. It's quite simple and straightforward. Taking strips of dry newspaper, dip them into the bucket, get them nice and wet, and then lay them across the chicken wire in several directions. Here's the hill that I started earlier. It's not quite finished, as you can see, but it does demonstrate all the techniques that are needed to complete the contour. After all, this is Interlagos, and there are a lot of features on this circuit, and a hill is appropriate, and it makes the circuit look really, really good. To give it that finish, then, all we've got to do is go back to our paint and sawdust technique, whereby we mix the two together to cover the newspaper with a rough texture. This is a very straightforward and quick method of making hills. There are other options available. They're normally more expensive and less flexible. For example, using foam that you've cut out to shape. But if you don't like that, it's very hard to go back to the start and begin again. With this system, you can change it, reshape it, and carry on. I've completed this hill for Interlagos in a very short amount of time, and it's starting to look really good now.
There's a certain type of racing you can see every day of the week on the motorways of Britain. Travelling salesmen hurtling towards the next appointment in fierce competition with their rivals. Take them off the motorway, put them on a racetrack, and you've got touring car racing!
Or even rallycross. They may look like ordinary Audis, Fords, Peugeots, Astras, Protons, Hondas and MGs, but under the skin, they're real racers. And the same massive choice of makes is available to slot jockeys. Even mighty Metros! For my race with John, I chose the classic early 80s Lancia 037, which gave 6,000 revs at the back wheels. John's choice of a Capri initially seemed to prove his lack of class, but then it emerged it had considerably more power, 8,000 revs. Don't you just hate him?
OK, swordsman of slots, are you ready for the big race?
Definitely ready.
Yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
You don't want me to give you a couple of lap starts?
No, you're all right. No, nice even start will do, mate.
OK, fine. Right, John, watch the lights. OK, John. Come on, John. Come on, what do you got? Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Come on, what speed? Come on, 28 years. 28 years is rubbish.
All you can do is look at my rear number plate.
There's absolutely no grip in these back tyres. I've got to keep the power.
Told you to sand them.
And did it come off then? Yeah, this is good.
No pressure.
I can sense victory. I can smell victory. Well, I think I can smell victory. What is that smell, John?
Oh, look, you might even catch me on this one. It's very close. Hey, but not that close. Toying with you now, look, tormenting you, like a cat with a mouse.
You've got to be so careful. You've got to keep the power on through there.
Oh, look, you're catching me up, you're catching me up. Oh, oh dear. How many's that now? 3?
Balancing it on the throttle through those chicanes. Beautiful, beautiful.
Just not
Look at that, and now on the straight, letting it rip, letting it rip.
Just the last lap, is it?
The less grip means good on the straight. Did I win? Did I win that? I don't believe it! You've got a magnet in the back of yours.
Well, you chose the cars. What can I say?
John, what are you on? I mean, how can you live with yourself? You're supposed 28 years in the business.
You're just an easy victim, Alex.
I don't know any... John, you could beat me with pure skill. Why? Why do you have to beat me by cheating?
It's very sad.
You shouldn't be marshalling the race. Poacher turned gamekeeper, though, in a way, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm not playing with you again. You're a cheat. You're a cheat. Play with your own friends.
Join us in part 2 when we find out if our slot jockeys play by the rules as they line up at Interlagos. Welcome back to Interlagos. Our drivers have now joined us, and they're getting in a few last-minute practice laps before the start of the qualifying session. Now, they're going to take a break in a moment. Meantime, our modeller, John Sword, is messing around in the bushes.
What are you up to then, John?
Well, I've just been building this fabulous hillside.
Well, it looks good. I wouldn't say it looks fabulous yet. It looks a bit bare. How are you going to make it look more realistic, John?
You've got high standards, you have, and not an easy man to please at all, are you?
I'm not.
We're going to bring some life into it by introducing some foliage, some trees, some bits of branches, stuff that you'd normally find on a hillside just about anywhere in the world, plus perhaps the odd figure to fill it out a little bit, make a scene.
OK, let's get cracking then. What you got? What you got in your box?
The first thing I'm going to do is use some of this lichen to scatter around, just randomly, all over the hillside. This is stuff that you can buy in a model shop if you earn enough money. But I will be showing you an alternative to this as well.
OK.
Even you can do this, so if you want to... Just like that, look. Just spread it about all over the place, just like Tommy Cooper used to say, just like that, all over. That's it.
What about... Is this bit all right over here? Can I put it on here?
It's all up to you. It's your artistic temperament. I don't want to interfere with that.
Good. Well, I just want to make it look Brazilian, that's all. I just wondered if there was any special sort of distribution of foliage that was typical to this area of Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, at no expense spared on this show. What we've done, we've flown people out to go to Brazilian model shops to get exactly the right kind of lichen. Good. So it looks right. Good. We're safe on this. We know we've done the right thing. Yeah. Well... Not looking bad, but still needs a bit more, doesn't it? So
OK, what we got?
What we can do now is we can introduce some of these trees. Here's some that I made earlier.
Where can I put them?
Put them in anywhere. See, just on there, that looks good. Just rotate it clockwise and it should stay in position. Yeah. If I give you a bit of an hand, we'll get the job done.
Well, that's looking all right.
I tell you what, you could have another career, eh? Charlie Dimmock, look out. OK, the other thing we can add in is perhaps some kitty litter. Get your hands in there. That's the bit that my cat used earlier. Yeah, go on, enjoy that. Smells nice. So scatter that around just to stimulate some rocks, look. Bit of a ravine there, look, bit of a gully. That'd look good. I mentioned earlier then that perhaps we don't want to spend a lot of money, so one of our alternatives is to troop down to the back of our, gardens and see what's down there. I'm always on the lookout for things that I can use. Don't have to buy it in a model shop and, again, save our money for those precious cars. Yeah. And this is something that grows in most people's gardens, bit of moss, bit of lichen.
So that's just been, like, prized off a tree or a stone?
No trees were damaged in the making of this programme whatsoever, honestly, that's true. Nor animals.
I believe you.
Just myself, all right? So you can scatter that around. Yeah. It adds a little bit more of interest. It looks different. Put it in batches. There you go, look, like that. I'm not going to give you any more. I think you're a bit of a waste. Yeah, look, you just don't care.
See, by grouping different colours together, I'm creating quite an interesting effect there, I think.
Looking quite good. Perhaps to finish it off then, again, we can grab from our garden or just about anywhere if we go for a walk. Although people like to use cars nowadays, I know. Just the odd branch, twig, etc. Scatter those about. Some of them you're lucky to find like that, actually in the shape of a tree.
I mean, obviously, these are quite small, but because we're working at a reduced scale, these will actually represent something rather larger, won't they? So, for example, this could be quite a big log.
Yes.
That's fallen in a landslide, because this area, I believe, is, with the lakes.
They've got all their problems with Brazilians, haven't they? But they have got a really nice, racing circuit, so don't feel too sorry for them.
They have, bless them.
Look at that, that's looking really good. Well,
and they've got the weather. They've got the weather, John.
They have, yeah, the heat.
Oh, boy. Right, so this looks fantastic.
Looking better, isn't it?
I'm almost expecting to find, like, a dead body in a shallow grave in this area of wilderness.
Perhaps produce a live body. This now is an idyllic setting for perhaps a driver that's not had a good day. The race hasn't gone the way that he wanted. Here's one that I made earlier, and perhaps we could stick him down there just to complete things. He's finding himself a nice little restful spot, sitting down having a cry, letting all his frustrations out.
Despair. He's thrown it all away.
He's a bit fed up. He's not having a good day. A bit like your driving, really.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, at least, he hasn't gone up against cheating drivers, which is the main thing. Right, the scenery's looking absolutely fantastic. The track is finished, and now we're ready for the qualifying session.
In qualifying, the drivers race each lane in turn and are awarded points according to their finishing position. The driver with the highest points total gets first choice of lane for the final decisive knockout race. Lane advantage is vital. A good performance in the qualifiers means you avoid the difficult outer lanes and have a better chance of victory.
Watch the lights.
Qualifying is slot carnage. Drivers are flying off on every corner, cars are breaking down, and at the end of the qualifying session there's usually 2 or even 3 drivers left. If you keep on the track to the end, there's every chance to get a good qualifying position, but the guys have really got the red mist at the moment.
Lane 3 leads.
After the first 5 qualifying races, the position is this. Leading is Daz on 30 points, second is Tim on 28 points, and third is Simon on 27 points. So it's neck and neck. Anybody could end up on pole position. Over to you, John.
Drivers, watch the lights.
In a thrilling final heat, Red Tim trips up, giving pole position to teammate Daz and leaving the whites and yellows in their wake.
Now, John, all the drivers have now had a chance to drive the track. There's been certain corners that they've really struggled on. Which ones do you think are the main challenge?
Basically, it's all on the infield on this track. I think it's all these tight S's close to us now. We'll see all the action there.
Now, John, you can tell from the skid marks in that gravel trap that that corner has caused all sorts of problems to the drivers. Why is that?
Very long straight coming into it. Got to brake early. If you don't, you get it wrong. That's the result.
John, we've got an absolutely immense start-finish straight here, and the drivers can get incredible speed up on there.
It's fantastic. It's my favourite part of the circuit. I love this circuit. You just go in very gentle lefters there, all the way down, massive, great long straight, loads of speed.
And then brake heavily for Ferradura.
Absolutely. If not, you're over the edge.
Now, the inside of the track over here is quite a disadvantage. It's so tight that the driver's wheels actually leave the road. We've actually had to insert an extra bit of road. What can a driver do to sort of keep some speed through that section?
You can actually keep speed through that section. In fact, that's the way to negotiate it. If you slow down too much, the wheels fall off the side of the track on the inside.
So it's not necessarily a disadvantage being on the inside of the track?
Not necessarily. A lot of racers prefer the inside leading edge. They don't get knocked off quite so easily by other drivers, so if they can keep it on, they're safe.
And where are you most likely to get knocked off, John?
When you're on the outside of a track anywhere, when somebody's coming into this tight curve, if they lose it, they're going to always come across you.
What happens if somebody does get knocked out in that manner? How do we deal with them within the rules?
Well, basically, if we can grab them and remove the car, then fine. If we can't, then it's all part of racing. Happens for real, happens on short circuits.
Our 6 slot jockeys are about to face each other in today's 10-lap knockout race. Only those who finish in the top 3 will make it through to the semis. And remember, it's crash and burn. And they're off. A fantastic start from Daz. Leapt ahead there. Very good reactions. We're going into the first left-hander. I don't believe it. Tim has got ahead of him. Tim is leading. Oh dear, Jim, yellow team, looking very bad. He's lost power. Looks like his race is over. That's a disaster. And oh my goodness me, the very next corner, Jerry is off as well. And look at that, in-car cam, loses it, and he's off. He couldn't stand the pressure. But I tell you what, the red team are under pressure from the white team here. Trevor and Simon harrying them all the way. Now, Tim is in the lead, but Daz is very, very vulnerable to be picked off by Trevor there. Trevor seems... Oh, he's got ahead of him. In the infield, he's very, very quick, but somehow, because of lane advantage possibly, Darren manages to get ahead of him. The red team there, concentration etched on their faces. And yes, Trevor still giving a lot of problems to the second red car, that's Darren. And it's looking good. I mean, the 2 whites, obviously only one of them can make it through into the semis. The top 3 go through, and these guys are neck and neck. And a great team race. The 2 reds there holding station. Tim first, Darren second. Oh no! What a tragedy for Trevor. Driving so... And his teammate! Within the course of 2 corners, both white cars have gone off, leaving the way clear to the reds. Now, there's a car across the track. Trevor's stricken car is blocking the way. That's allowed Darren to gain an advantage. I don't believe it. Tim had to slow down for that car. And now Darren biding his time right through the race for 8 laps, just ready to pounce. And now pressing home his advantage. How much pace did he have in reserve? Enormous speed, this guy. Gotta be good for the semis now. And it's basically just a procession to... Oh, no! As I said, it would be a procession with no more fun or action. Tim stuffs it a la barrier. Oh, well done. Well done, the Iceman.
The Iceman.
Boys, what went wrong? You seemed to come through with a couple of strong results, but keeping on the track was a problem.
Yes, it was a bit of a problem for us today, although rumours that a lot of money has come in from the Far East to back us are just totally unfounded, and we wish to state clearly and categorically now that there should be no speculation that we have thrown this race today. That is not the case. We came here, we gave a good account of ourselves.
Jerry, we like to keep a nice clean race going here. No dirty tactics. Jim,
yes.
You're at the back. Thoughts for the race?
Difficult lane choice, but we proved today what a load of cobblers we are.
As a mist descends here at a rather chilly Interlagos, we've got time to reflect on what was a fantastic race, John. The Icemen won from the outset. How did they do it?
It was an awesome race, Alex. Off they went very quickly from the start, pushed hard, pushed very hard. The white team, after about 2 or 3 laps contention, decided to go for broke, tried to catch them up. Unfortunately, they fell off. Yellows, they were valiant, but not really in the same class, were they?
Not really, John. The red team, worthy winners. Well done, guys. See you next time on Short Circuits.
And if you want to find out more about little fast cars and even win some, you can log on to homeandleisure.co.uk/circuits. You could get started on slot car races of your own. You might have to clear out the shed though.